Dry playas also set the stage for the wetland's other important role, as recharge basins for the Ogallala Aquifer. Playas are the primary source of recharge for the Ogallala Aquifer, a 175,000 square mile groundwater formation that underlies 8 states in the High Plains, including all of the Playa states. People of the High Plains depend on the Ogallala for the majority of their water supply. The Ogallala is the driving force behind the High Plains economy, feeding cities, industry, and agriculture with precious water. But the resource has been steadily declining since the widespread use of pump irrigation in the mid-1900s. By the 1980s, the water table of the Ogallala had dropped more than 100 feet in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Today, declines range from about 1 to 5 feet per year in most areas throughout the aquifer. Overall, since pre-development until today, water levels have declined more than 150 feet in the hardest hit areas of the Texas Panhandle and southwest Kansas.
Of the total water use, municipalities use about 2% of the water. Other water users, like manufacturers, for food processing, metal fabricators, water used in the oil patch for oil and gas production, steam power electric generation, livestock industry, all of those combined equal about 2% as well. By far, the vast amount of water that is used is irrigated agriculture. They use about 96% of the groundwater.
Playas have been found to replenish groundwater at a rate of about 1 to 3 inches per year, depending on the amount of rainfall. Playas are like drains, collecting water from the surrounding lands and providing channels for water to pass through soils and into the Ogallala Aquifer. When a dry playa receives a surge of rainwater or runoff, water seeps into deep cracks in the clay basin, along plant root openings, and along the perimeter of the playa. Water seeps down through these channels, through layers of soil, eventually reaching the saturated zone of the Ogallala Aquifer. Their basins are underlain with clay soils which swell when saturated and form a seal to hold water. Research has shown about 85% of all recharge is focused through playas.
Okay, originally people thought that the water that made it to a playa just evaporated because that's what they could see happen from the surface. But actually, also looking at the playa from the surface, if the water was just evaporating, then the water should get saltier as the water was being removed into the atmosphere, and salt should have built up on the surface soils in the playas. And that doesn't happen in our playa lakes. Another thing that we have found near playas is that if you drill through the playa bottoms, something is missing. In the Ogallala Formation, which holds the aquifer beneath, it tends to be capped at its top by what we call the caprock caliche, which is a calcium carbonate formation. Right beneath the playas, that caprock is missing. What that means has happened is the water moves through the bottom of the playas and is able to dissolve that calcium carbonate and carry it on down to the aquifer. The original estimates of recharge were very small numbers, like a 1/16 of an inch per year. And people predicted that by today we would be out of water here in the Ogallala if we continued to use it for irrigation as we had already begun after World War II. What has happened is we're not out of water yet. And so our estimates of recharge that were that small must have been off.